Okay, so welcome. Today I wanted to offer some thoughts and just some reflections about the premiere of our documentary Boarding on Insanity. And yeah, when is it? And yeah, how you can join and more details. So, thank you. So, as many of you have probably already seen, the trailer for our film is now up, the latest one. And this film documentary is basically about what's the impact of boarding school on both individuals and also on our leaders, as so many of our leaders have been to boarding school. Some which come to mind are Donald Trump, Mark Zuckerberg, Christopher Wray, the recently resigned director of the FBI, the head of the Church of England. Um, there's so many, Richard Branson, Boris Johnson, etc. And so it's just to ask that question, what is the impact of boarding school on these leaders, and are our leaders traumatized who've been to these schools? So the premiere is going to be in London. It's in a cinema called the Rio, which is in E8, so it's just next to Islington. It's quite central, and it's known as one of the best independent cinemas, which is really exciting. And the doors will open at 1:30, and we will have the showing from 2 o'clock through till about 3:10. Then after the film's finished, we're going to do half an hour, 40 minutes of questions and answers. And so far we have Dr. Joyce Schaverien. We've also got Dr. Kathy Wield speaking on the panel. Myself and Ben, the director, will also be speaking. So yeah, it'll just be a chance to gather. I think I'm really seeing some momentum. There's quite a few books coming out in the next few months. One about third culture kids, another about working with boarding school survivors. There's the radio show with Nikki Campbell, which is out this week. There's so much which is going on, which is questioning, what is the impact of these schools? To open that discussion and share stories. You know, Someone was saying, "Oh, I really loved boarding school." And yeah, I'm not saying that everyone is negatively impacted by boarding school, but when you go on to Google, you put boarding school in, you get 99 responses which are just positive about how great they are. And there's one talking about Joy Javrian's book, Boarding School Syndrome. What we're doing here is we're just opening the stories up. If I've read 40 to 50 biographies of many well-known ex-boarders, and nearly to a T, 95% of them have some form of either sexual abuse, rape, neglect, beating, you know, something's happened to them. And so I just feel that what this film is doing is just opening this discussion up. Well, if our leaders have been to these schools and these are their experiences, how might that impact us? So, we've got Dr. Gabor Mate talking, Nick Duffell, George Schaverien, we've got Dr. Susan Zeedyk, Martin Lloyd-Elliott, we've got S.I. Martin, the historian, talking about the link to slavery and the histories of these schools. And yeah, for me, it's been a really powerful journey these last few years, difficult at times, and yeah, and yet I just feel this message really needs to get out there. Um, so this Friday, I've got a podcast going live with the director, Ben Cole, and we're just talking about what the experience was like and some of the things we've learnt, and yeah, just talking about this subject. So yeah, so tickets, I'll put that into the description. We are looking for a national press release, so I'm imagining that tickets will sell out. So if you are really interested in coming, then please do purchase a ticket sooner rather than later. And then the other thing is, if you can't make the London premiere, we are doing 3 launch free webinars from 6 till 7:30 on the 5th, the 10th, and the 13th. And many of the leading speakers in the trauma boarding school world are going to be speaking on those. And then on the 15th, you'll actually be able to download and watch the film. And yeah, it's exciting. So, one of the things, it's a word of mouth. We don't have a Hollywood budget. We basically have very little budget. It's all word of mouth. So if you can share the trailer, if you're watching something about politics and you think, oh, right, this is really relevant to Boris Johnson about boarding school, or David Cameron or Tony Blair, share the trailer. Please do. It's just going to, as I share on the film, it's going to get that out there one person at a time. It will be a slow burn, and all your support is so appreciated. And we can change it. Coming back to my vision for these schools is to close all early boarding school, convert them into sixth form colleges, and then for the rest of the schools bring in trauma-informed ACE awareness, and also bring in emotional intelligence into schools, and then mandatory reporting, making sure that comes in. And the final aspect is training our leaders for the future. Right, let's bring in emotional intelligence. Let's bring in these things. So that's really the vision for the movement. And yeah, let's change things. These boarding schools, for me, they served a purpose, 19th, 20th century British Empire. Now we're moving into a place of emotional intelligence. They just don't serve a purpose anymore. They don't create emotionally intelligent leaders. That's my experience, and talking to about 120 different experts, psychiatrists, psychologists over the years. That's often what's reflected back to me. So yeah, thank you so much for your support, and I look forward to seeing you in London on the 1st, or if not, on one of the free webinars. If you're interested in the webinar, you can go on to my website, and I'll put the description into the bottom. Our new website for boardingoninsanity.com will be live in the next couple of days, and I'll put the link to that in there as well. And you can sign up to the launch email list, which then you'll be sent a link to the Zoom, so you can join live. Okay, right. Thank you so much. And any questions, any ideas, for getting it out there? Anyone maybe in the boarding school media world you can share the trailer with, please do. I really appreciate that. Okay, take care. Bye for now.